Okay, so let's do it for min. All right, so we're gonna have to check the length of the string. So let's do f string length. Okay, string length of values form key is less than 3 or less than split rules with options. And then now this is where the option part comes in play. So this is the option here that's being passed after the semicolon, and this is the option for this other one. So that's what we're getting in here. So if the length of the values is less than that option, so we're gonna have to say errors, and then form key, and then square brackets equal to let's do form key dot must be at least, and then let's do another dot. So let's do split rule with options, and then let's do one must be at least whatever you've passed in here as the minimum length. So let's do in length. Okay, so let's copy this part here, and then right back down to the maximum part. We're just going to change that a bit. So now check the string length if it is more than the split rule with options. So we say form key in this case will be either password must be at most whatever in length. Okay, so after all of our for loops here, let's now check the errors array whether it has been set in any way. Okay, so right down here, let's do for each, and then let's do errors as key value. So if count of value is more than 0, so basically if any of the array properties have been set, that is in here, like we're saying here, because initially we initialize it for each of the input fields. So we're gonna have an array errors here with just the keys name, email and password, but all of them are going to be an empty array. So if any of them are not an empty array, that's what we're checking here. Then we're gonna say valid equals to false. Okay, so now valid is false. That's why we're passing in now results equals to validate, and then the errors array. Okay, that's what we're going to return from this function. So let's do return, and then an array with the first one is whether the validation passed or not. So in this case, let's do valid. That would be either true or false, and then now let's pass in array errors. Okay, so that will contain the error messages. All right, so now we're ready to test our server.php file. So let's have a look if everything's set up properly. Now our VRL server.php. All right, so let's go to our form now, and then submit things and see if everything works fine. So I'm gonna come here and refresh. I'm gonna submit. Now it says clear validation messages is not a function. So jQuery.validate on line 52. So we're gonna come to jQuery.validate line 52 and have a look there. So self.clear messages is not does not exist. Okay, so yep, that's right. So we failed to create that function. So let's do jQuery.prototype clear messages equals to function. Okay, so basically what this does is we're going to find the elements inside of this.element.find, and then we're going to find error container. So anything with that class in there, I'll show you what that error container is in a moment. And then we're going to set the HTML to an empty string. Right, so basically we're finding the whole form, which is my form, finding error container. So you can pass this as an object here, like this, error container, and then you say dot error container, and you can use those inside here anyhow you want from options. So instead of this, you can just self dot options dot error container. It's all up to you. Actually, let's change it to that. I think that's a bit more maintainable. So likewise here, I'm gonna change it. Save self.error options.error container. right? So all of these things that are in strings, you can customize them in here, pass them in here, and actually use those. So but it is left to you, because this is just a tutorial sake, but I just want you to know that this is a very powerful plugin that you can use anyhow you want, and this is a simple version that we created. Go wild with your imaginations and create something really more awesome than this, right? But hopefully this works for many basic cases. So back to the browser, I refresh. Now when I submit, it cannot read properties error container of undefined. So let's see what the problem is. So what line is it? Line 63. So we check line 63. This dot element dot find. So cannot read property error container of undefined. So it says options is undefined. Oh, okay, we need to do this here because we haven't created var self equals to this. Okay, so make sure that if you're not in any sub function inside a function, doesn't necessarily mean you have to create a self like we did here, because we are inside of this function here. If we did this in here like this, it wouldn't work. That's why we're doing self. Okay, so back here, refresh, submit. As you can see, now it is validating our form. Okay, so now let's test it out. So let's do Lamin, which is my name, submit, and now Lamin is no longer validated wrongly. So now let's do example Jesse. So it's not empty, but it says email must be an email format, right? So let's do jesse@jesse.com, and that should be validated properly. Finally, let's put in password. Let's just do 1. Submit, it says password must be at least 3 in length. Next, let's do 2, 3. Submit, it says form is valid. Now let's put in something really long. Submit, it says passwords must be at most 10 in length. And finally, let's take it back to just something that's reasonable, and it says form valid. Okay, so just know one thing, that we're validating the form, but we're just handling it simply here. Well, this is something that you have to write in your project or whatever application you're writing, right? So I hope this was useful, and that brings us to the end of this tutorial video. And please do subscribe and share this video, and I hope to see you soon in another tutorial series. Cheers, bye bye.